Hello and welcome to the show. My name is Mpho Tsedu. President Sata of Zambia has been laid to rest. He was buried today at Embassy Park, that is just outside Lusaka, a place reserved for heads of state. President Sata died 2 weeks ago on the 28th of October in a London hospital where he was being treated for an undisclosed illness. Deputy President Cyril Ramaphosa of South Africa and another South African delegation attended the funeral on behalf of President Jacob Zuma. President Sata is Zambia's second head of state to die while in office. My guest today here in studios, Funiso Mulolo from SABC's Channel Africa. And on the line we are joined by Henry Kabwe, who's the director at the media network on child rights. He joins us from Zambia, that is in Lusaka. Gentlemen, welcome to the show. Perhaps, Henry, let me start with you. What was the mood like today in Zambia?
Well, the mood was basically that of sorrow, and well, I would say it's a mixed mood because some people are celebrating some of the things that the president did, and the fact that we have managed to have a very peaceful transition in terms of the mourning period. And also the sorrow part is the fact that we are putting to rest the man who was supposed to lead us up to 2016, and his term has been cut short. So it's been a sorrowful period, and also kind of comforting after seeing various leaders coming to mourn with us. Yeah, so it's a mixed mood, but yeah, like I was just looking at the people in the stadium, and some were cheering, people that were speaking, and some were saying things that made people cry and emotional. So it was a mixed mood here in Lusaka.
Okay, now just give us perhaps a rundown of some of the dignitaries that attended the funeral, and perhaps we may be able to draw some conclusions as to, you know, those that attended. What sort of relationship do the countries they represent have with Zambia itself? Who did you notice? Well,
yeah, I did notice that there was his friend, Robert Mugabe from Zimbabwe, who paid glowing tribute to the man who passed away, describing him as a bold and frank person who fought neo-colonialism. And we had the president of Namibia, we had the president of Kenya. Of course, these have held Zambia as a peaceful country. And for these neighboring countries like Tanzania, where the vice president came, you know, I think they look at Zambia as a comrade in the fight for the liberation of Africa. And of course, you know, countries that represent those that Zambia helped to fight their independence. Then we had the AU chairperson, Mrs. Zuma, who also paid glowing tribute to Zambia and mentioned that Zambia particularly did a lot for a lot of Southern African countries. She actually mentioned South Africa as one of the countries that benefited from its fight.
Yes.
Then you had the Vice President of South Africa, of course,
yes,
Mr. Ramaphosa. And yeah, so we and other countries did send their vice presidents and the speakers. Then the UK sent one of the princesses. So it was quite a well-attended funeral, and Zambians are feeling that warmth through the support that has been given by the dignitaries that came to mourn with us.
Funiso Mulolo, let me come to you. The president has now been laid to rest. What next for Zambia?
Yes, indeed, the president has been laid to rest now, and of course the 50th Zambian president who took the presidential oath. And now what is going to happen is that Zambia is going to the presidential by-elections in less than 90 days now. Yeah, so all the parties in Zambia now, they have to choose the presidential candidates. Yeah, I spoke to the Electoral Commission of Zambia the other day, and they say that after the barrier, then they will make sure that they put in place a program to see that the elections are held in time in that 90 days as per the Constitution of Zambia. Okay. So we are yet to see, as you are aware, for now, the Patriotic Front, they have a lot of people who want to also assume to the highest office in the land. Yeah, and there are succession wrangles currently, but we are yet to see who the ruling Patriotic Front is going to pick as their presidential candidate. But I'm sure some of the opposition political parties, they are ready. We're just waiting for the Patriotic Front to name their presidential candidate in the forthcoming by-election.
Should we expect some political wrangling, not only within the Patriotic Front, but in general throughout Zambia? Because there was this mood. I mean, I remember former President Rupia Banda was saying, please, let's cool down for now. Let's allow the mourning period to pass. Let's bury our president, and then we can start talking. So the president has been buried. Should we now expect that, the political jostling is going to begin?
I think so, because you see, the problem with the party in power for now, that is the Patriotic Front, they don't seem to have picked their presidential candidate, and there's an infighting. Because remember, there were rumors that the son to the president, that is Mlenga Sata, was wanted to contest on the presidency, and then we have Geoffrey Mwamba, who is popularly known as GBM, and Edgar Lungu himself, who is the Patriotic Front General Secretary. Remember what happened when the acting president tried to demote him from that position? Yeah, there were some wrangles here and there. Yeah, so we are yet to see, but I don't think Zambia is a peaceful country. I think what remains now is just for the Patriotic Front to sit down and pick their presidential candidate.
Okay. Henry, has the current interim president accepted that he can't be the head of state?
Yes, because in his very short speech at the Requiem Mass, he said, my job now is to ensure that I hold the fort until the next president is elected. So it didn't appear to be indicating that he was willing to stand. So, and I mean, that was very gracious of him. And I think after what he did, when he demoted Edgar Lungu, Secretary General, and people kind of looked down on him, and what he has done today has kind of rubbed what he had done earlier. I think there is a bit of respect being given to him, because he selflessly just said that my job now is to just keep the fort until another government is formed.
But what chances did he stand? I mean, I asked a question last week that what chance does Mlungu stand, to be head of state in Zambia?
You mean Guy Scott?
Yes. What chance does he stand as a white man to rule Zambia?
Well, our current constitution bars him on the ground that his parents were not born in Zambia. But there are also arguments to say that, he was born before independence, so Zambia was not there at the time. So, yeah, they may try to use that, but I think he's trying to avoid legal battles, because, they only have about 90 days. So if they start having legal battles to confirm whether they can stand or not, it may be too late for them to campaign.
All right.
The best is to find someone who people can recognize on the first point, so that they have enough time to campaign.
All right. So it's got nothing to do with the fact that he's a Mzungu?
No. Actually, we don't have any problem with him as a country.
All right.
I always say that,
hold it there. I want us to take a quick break. When we return, we'll continue with this discussion. Please don't go away. This is Question Time.
Please take note of the following changes. Xhosa and Zulu News bulletins will now be broadcast at 10 p.m, followed by Sesotho News at 10:30 p.m. Siswati and Ndebele News will be at 11 p.m, and the Tsonga and Venda News bulletins at 11:30 p.m. Stay tuned to the SABC News channel.
In Parliament, Higher Education and Training Minister Bladen Nzimande has conceded that the bursary scheme is not enough to meet the growing demand from students.
Funding for universities is not enough. We'll be open about that. We will continue to ask for more from government as a department.
We've always said that the NSFAS budget must be 16 billion rand and that no qualifying student must be prevented from studying just because they cannot afford to do so.
There's been concern about citrus exports to Europe and investment contracts.
There are more opportunities for us to sell sugar, wine, ethanol, some fruit products than we had before, and that could create jobs.
That's business news, weekdays at 6 p.m. on SABC News.
Zoom into Africa. This is Mali. The president is Mr. Ibrahim Boubacar Keita. Mali got independent from France on 20 June in 1960. The population is more than 16 million people. One of Mali's major languages spoken is Arabic. Monetary unit is CFA.
Welcome back. This question time you're watching. Henry Kabwe joins us from Zambia in Lusaka, and in studio here I've got Sifuniso Mulolo with SABC's Channel Africa. Now quickly, Henry, Edgar Lungu, earlier when he spoke at the funeral, received the most thunderous applauses throughout his speech. What is it which people are so excited about, which he was saying?
It's actually surprising that there's this favor which he seems to have with the people. And when he was making his speech, actually before he even went to the podium, whenever he was beamed on the huge screen, you could hear people, shout and make a supportive noise. So I think he could be some people's favorite in terms of the person they may want to image as the next person to take over from Sata. And, during his speech, he did mention that there was a desire within the party to maintain the ideals which Sata stood for, to ensure that you focus on the poor, to ensure that the livelihoods of those that are vulnerable in society are upheld. And the fact that, the party was not for sale to the highest bidder, but it was there to ensure that it serves the interests of the poor, and that resonated very well with the people that were listening to him.
Now, would you say, Sifuniso, that that's an indication that Edgar is effectively raising his hand?
Yeah, I think he's so far, going by what is happening, I may say that he's the favorite of the people in the Patriotic Front Party. But now we are yet to see, because as you rightly put it, that the president has just been laid to rest today. So we're yet to see who the Patriotic Front they are going to pick to stand for the presidency in that party. But judging by what is happening, I think Edgar Lungu stands a better chance. Though you heard from the words of Edgar Lungu said the party is not for sale to the highest bidder. Of course, there is a certain statement that is sending to the citizenry of Zambia. So yet to send it.
Yeah, but the highest bidder, basically, he would be talking about some of his comrades within the party who have more money than him, actually.
Yeah, there are people within the party who have more money, and Edgar Lungu has been said to be somebody who doesn't have a lot of money to command that influence in the party. But he is the favorite of people, and then there are those comrades within his party that have money. And as you are aware, you may be aware that there are issues like certain cartels that are there, the infighting. There are so many factions within the Patriotic Party. So he may be referring to those, and we'll see, because we must remember that he's the Secretary General of the Patriotic Front. So it will be interesting to see if they handpick another person rather than him. We're yet to see what is going to happen in the Patriotic Party.
Henry Kabyo, who's likely to challenge him?
When the board was being received at the airport, some people were spotted in T-shirts bearing the names of Mulenga Sata, the son to the late president, and the other group was wearing T-shirts for Geoffrey Waliamamba, and the one commonly known as GDM. So those could be signals that these may want to stand. But of course, there's been, the one whom Sata removed as the Secretary General, there are rumors that he wants to come back and stand, Mr. Winter Kavimba.
Yes.
Yeah, so those are some of the people that may want, to challenge him. There are also rumors that Mr. Alexander Chkwanda may also want to stand. This is the finance minister. Of course, so these could be the ones that may want to challenge him, but they really have to decide in good time so that they have enough time to campaign.
Any favorite of the current acting president out of all those?
Pardon?
I'm saying, does the current acting president have any favorite out of all those potential candidates?
Well, there were rumors that he was supporting the other group, and that's why he wanted Edgar Lungu to be removed.
But the other group, Henry, the other group is made up of many candidates, potential candidates.
Well, but I'm reliably informed that they wanted the former Secretary General, Winter Kavimba, to come back as the presidential candidate. So it's basically that it's like Scott wanted the other group, to bounce back, but it's not clear, whether that was true or not. But the fact that just after becoming acting president, he relinquished the services of Edgar Lungu may indicate that that was going to be the case.
Okay, how does this indecisiveness on the part of the Patriotic Front at this stage help their cause? And let's look at the opposition. You think they would be able to take advantage of this and perhaps solidify their base to challenge them?
Yeah, I think so. Because, you see, the opposition political parties in Zambia, they are well organized, and they lost the elections. And from the time they lost the elections to the Patriotic Front, they were able to dust themselves off and started actually preparing for themselves for the elections in 2016. But given the untimely death of President Sata, I'm sure they are still ready, but when you look at the Patriotic Front, there's a lot of infighting and time is running out. You see. And the only thing that may help the Patriotic Front at this time is if they can pick a candidate now, and then maybe the other thing also that is going to help them is their sympathy vote, maybe given what has happened.
Okay. I want us to talk about the successes and failures of late President Sata, but only after the break. Let's look at his legacy as well. This question time, please don't go away.
than 230 people in Pakistan and northern India have been killed in torrential monsoon rains, which triggered flooding, landslides and house collapses.
Future is doomed already because I didn't write exam June. I didn't apply. So I don't know from now where I am going to do because I'm sitting at home doing nothing.
We're running against time and we're losing lots of time, losing a momentum. It has reached a stage of extreme urgency.
Triumphant South African national cricket team arrived back from Harare confident of the future. The Proteas trounced Australia by 6 wickets to claim the triangular series title in Saturday's final.
Peter Ndoro, he's out and about today. He's at Tsitsikamma National Park to officially launch Sand Parks Week, as well as celebrate the national park's 50th birthday.
I've got to tell you, it's picturesque beyond words.
The people are really friendly and nice here. It's like the different kind of nature. You have mountains and you have the ocean, and it's all in one place.
That's Morning Live, daily at 6 a.m. on SABC News.
Zoom into Africa. This is Mali. The president is Mr. Ibrahim Boubacar Keita. Mali got independent from France on 20 June in 1960. The population is more than 16 million people. One of Mali's major languages spoken is Arabic. Monetary unit is CFA.
Welcome back. You're still watching Question Times. Funiso Mloro with SABC's Channel Africa is my guest, and on the line we're joined by Henry Kapu, who is in Lusaka, Zambia. And Henry, you are with the Media Network on Child Rights and Development, and you're training journalists as well. As an observer, who do you think, or rather, what do you think is going to play a major role or part here when the country goes to the elections? Is it what the Patriotic Front stands for, or what the other parties stands for, or is it going to be who is leading the parties?
Well, I think for now, Zambians are very careful with having a person that will mean what they say, and they won't start giving excuses after winning the elections. I think that's what Zambians are looking at. It's basically making sure that they get somebody who will promise them, who will make promises, and they'll be able to stand by their promises.
Okay.
That would be timing very much this campaign period, and I guess this might be the most issue-based campaign we are going to see, because normally candidates would just campaign against each other instead of talking about what they are promising to do. So, especially that when the current government came into power, they promised the constitution within 90 days, which never came to pass, and then a number of other things, like the access to information bill. They said it was going to be enacted, and over the past 3 years it has never been enacted. I think people now are looking at which candidate is going to mean what they're going to say, and so that they will be able to hold them accountable.
Now, did the fact that the president died in a British hospital matter to Zambians, instead of him perhaps showing confidence in the health facilities of the country that he leads?
Apparently, most of our leaders, including ministers, do seek services outside the country. And I think it's surprisingly very sad that people of Zambia tend to live with that reality. I mean, we're very familiar with places like the Morningside Clinic in Johannesburg, because that's where most of our leaders go to. So it wasn't quite surprising, because even the other president, he ended up dying in France despite collapsing in Egypt. So I think these are some of the things Zambians must reflect upon to ensure that the leaders focus on improving our local health systems and have confidence in them, because they should be able to believe in what they're trying to, to develop.
President Sata failed to live up to his commitments that he would have made a serious transformation within 90 days of taking office. Was it just one of his populist statements?
Yeah, it was. There are a number of election promises that he never fulfilled. You remember a promise that the Zambians were going to be given a people-driven constitution, that is the new constitution of Zambia,
yes,
within 90 days. There is a thorny issue of the Barroso issue, the Barroso Agreement of 1964 that he promised that he was going to make sure that it sees the light of the day. He never did that, but of course, he scores some of the successes in certain sectors.
Okay.
So, for instance, the health sector, and we saw massive improvements in terms of road infrastructure.
No, but I don't believe that. I mean, if there was enough improvement, he would have passed on there.
No. There was some improvements, yeah. And you see, his legacy will live on, and people believed in him because they saw what he said. But of course, they never believed in certain things.
Okay. The state of the media, a quick one.
Yeah, the state of the media, I think the media were more free to report on whatever they wanted to report under the Patriotic Front, unlike the previous regimes.
Okay.
And we saw an enactment of the IBA, the Independent Broadcasting Authority, that is now currently giving licenses to all people who want to put up radio and TV stations in Zambia.
Okay.
That was not the case before.
All right. Let me thank you for the time. Funiso Mlolo, SABC's Channel Africa, and Henry Kabwe with the Media Network on Children Rights and Development in Zambia. That was Question Time for today. Please follow us on Twitter, our Twitter handle at QuestionTime24, our email address questiontime@sabc.co.za. You can also follow me on Twitter at Mpotseli. That's it for today. Goodbye.
SABC News, we've got Africa covered.
The Kenyan actress is the first from her country to win an Academy Award. Her Best Actress Oscar win has inspired many in Kenya.
Nyong'o's victory has made the headlines in all of the country's newspapers. This was Nyong'o's first role in a film after she had completed postgraduate studies in America.
Players in South Africa's music industry will attend the Music Exchange program in Cape Town, South Africa.
We as Africans, we have to embrace what is unique about us and about our music.
That's Afro Showbiz News, Saturdays, 7:30 p.m. on SABC News.
Zoom into Africa. This